Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our regular Tuesday evening and our last Tuesday evening for the year, because we're going to take a bit of a gap and a bit of a break now, so that I can recover and dream up some new content for next year. We will continue our technical deep diving on nutrition, but I'll see if I can put a little bit of a different spin on it next time. And yeah, just ramp it up a little bit over there. So we've been covering vitamins and minerals. We are going to finish up with the vitamins and just briefly touch on a few minerals tonight. And yeah, let me just share my screen and we'll take it from there. Need to share the sound as well. Okay. Let me just hide myself over here. Okay. Right. So as I said, we've been covering presentation or talking about vitamins and minerals. Even though we know all about them and we talk about them on a regular basis, we probably don't know everything that we should do about them. So we've been through the basics of all the B vitamins and and vitamin A, and oops, we're not doing anything. Right, there we go. Now we're going to hit vitamin E. So what is vitamin E? It is a fat soluble as opposed to a water soluble vitamin. We've found out that the vitamin Bs are all water soluble. Vitamin C is water soluble, and vitamin E and vitamin A are both fat soluble, which means that there could be a bit of a buildup in there, and so you could essentially have a toxic limit. Vitamin E is an antioxidant, and it reduces the energy of the free radical. It stops the free radical from forming in the first place, and interrupts an oxidizing chain reaction to minimize the damage of free radicals, because free radicals are the guys that lead to things like cancers and all sorts of other fun diseases. So what exactly does it do? It protects the cell membranes and other fat-soluble parts of the body, like LDL cholesterol or low-density lipid cholesterol, from oxidation. We know that cholesterol itself isn't a problem. It's when it oxidizes that it becomes a problem. And as a result of this, the prevention of the oxidation, it may reduce the risk of heart disease. And most cardiologists will generally recommend vitamin E. Even if they don't recommend any other vitamins, they will generally recommend vitamin E for this very reason, to lower the risk of oxidation of the cholesterol. And it may also discourage the development of some types of cancer, because it promotes normal growth and development, promotes normal red blood cell formation, and acts as an anti-blood clotting agent. So it's very good for, if anybody's having surgery, good thing to have vitamin E, then you don't really have to have your anticoagulants for too long afterwards. And it plays some role in the body's ability to process glucose. And it's also been known to aid the process of wound healing. So if anybody's planning on having surgery, make sure that you have your vitamin E, as well as your zinc, obviously, and the vitamin C. But remember, stop taking, if you're taking salmon oil, stop taking salmon oil and vitamin E 2 to 3 days before your surgery, or it could interfere with the clotting formation afterwards. So in heart disease, 2 studies published in the New England Journal of Medicine by Harvard researchers of 127,000 health professionals found that those who took large doses of vitamin E had a 40% lower risk of heart disease. Quite a significant difference over there. So with vitamin E, we know that there's actually a chain of 8 vitamin E's, not just 1. There's alpha tocopherol. So there's a few different types on the commercial market. We know that there are actually 8 different vitamin E's. You get your alpha, beta, gamma, and delta tocopherol. And then you get your alpha, beta, gamma, and delta tocotrienol, which most vitamin supplements on the market will not have in them because most of them are synthetic or sourced from crude oil. So the different types that you'll find commercially are your alpha tocopherol, your tocopherol, and your tocopherol, which is your acetate and succinate. So you get, when you look at the chemical symbol on your bottle, you will see D alpha tocopherol or DL alpha tocopherol. The DL is synthetic, and I look at it, the way that I remember it, is that the L means leave it on the shelf. So where do we get vitamin E from? Technically, wheat germ oil. So in our case in South Africa, in our particular range of products, we have both the vitamin E as well as wheat germ oil. You also find it in vegetable oils, nuts and seeds, whole grains, egg yolk, leafy green vegetables. But the specific food sources will be vegetable oils, such as corn, cottonseed, and peanut oil, nuts and seeds, almonds, hazelnuts, sunflower seeds, walnuts, and margarine. And we know from research that your cottonseed oil is probably not your best source of vitamin E, and margarine is also not your best source either. Whole grains is the other one that you're going to get it in, and whole wheat flour and wheat germ, vegetables and fruits, spinach, lettuce, onions, blackberries, apples, and pears. So the effect that we get, taking more than the RDA of vitamin E improves the immune system in the elderly. So in this case, it's not a bad thing to take extra if you consider yourself elderly. This research was done by Jean Meyer and published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Now, who is likely to be deficient? Fortunately, severe vitamin E deficiencies are rare, but they normally show up people who are lacking vitality, they're lethargic, they've got apathy, they have an inability to concentrate, muscle weakness are some of the symptoms. There are no harmful effects of vitamin E at 50 times the RDA. So essentially, there's no real upper limit. Although if you reach the level of 2,400 IU per day, this may cause bleeding due to its clot preventing ability. And when you have an operation or a cut, you want your wound to clot, because otherwise things get rather messy. What you don't want is those clots to go walk about in your system and block up an artery, which can lead to things like strokes, heart attacks, or blood clots in the lungs. And too much vitamin E may also interfere and reduce the body's supply of vitamin A. And it may alter the immune system, but toxicity of vitamin E is very rare. The question is, should you take natural foods or supplements? Again, I always say supplement is exactly that. It's in conjunction to a balanced diet. So if you're not getting sufficient from your food, then you need to supplement. Now, the natural form of vitamin E is more bioavailable, and that is what makes our vitamin E particularly good, because it is sourced from food. It is not a synthetic. And it's easier to obtain the amount needed from supplements. So if you're not getting enough from diet, you need to supplement, but you need to be careful what you're supplementing with. Now, who are the people that should be taking supplements? Those over the age of 55, smokers, people who abuse alcohol, anyone with an inadequate caloric or nutritional dietary intake or an increased nutritional requirement, such as those who have chronic illnesses such as cancer, or they're on chronic medication, or they are obese. All of those, or even diabetics for that matter, have increased nutritional requirements, and even the fit people like athletes. Now, be careful that you don't store your vitamin E in the freezer because it can destroy it. Kept in the fridge isn't as much of a problem. Extreme heat also causes the vitamin E to break down, and we need to avoid deep fat frying foods that are natural sources of vitamin E. So in other words, don't fry your salad. Reduces the potential toxicity of vitamin A, and excessive doses cause vitamin A depletion. The next one we're going to talk about is vitamin C, which is commonly known as ascorbic acid, and it is toxic to viruses, bacteria, and some malignant tumor cells. Again, it is an antioxidant, and it is water-soluble, not fat-soluble. Vitamin C protects your body from free radicals. It helps form connective tissue that holds your bones, muscles, and tissues together. In other words, your collagen. It aids in the healing of wounds. It aids the body in absorbing iron from plant sources. It helps to keep your gums healthy, and it helps your body to fight infections. And it aids in the prevention of heart disease. Also helps to prevent some forms of cancer, and research is ongoing at the moment whereby they are often prescribing large doses of vitamin C, usually through an IV way of doing it, because the doses are too large for your gut to, what they call gut tolerance. So it'll be too big for your gut to handle. That's why they inject it intravenously through a drip. And that has been showing some very, very good results about not only preventing some forms of cancer, but also treating some forms of cancer. What happens if you have too much? If you have more than 1,000 milligrams at a time? Nothing much. You're going to end up with a bit of diarrhea. And you could end up with a bit of gastrointestinal discomfort and what they call rebound scurvy. You need to avoid the chewable tablets because they may cause damage to teeth. And part of that is because of the sugar that is added to a lot of vitamin C chewables. If there's no sugar added, obviously, again, too much is bad, because remember, this is an acid, and that is why it can cause damage to the teeth. Since vitamin C is water-soluble, excess amounts that the body does not need will be excreted, but larger doses can cause some problems. The recommended daily intake is 60 milligrams for men and women. Pregnant women need 95 milligrams per day. Children only need about 45 milligrams. It's better to take divided doses to get the best results and less excretion. Our supplement is sustained release, meaning that it stays in the system for upwards of 4 to 6 hours, whereas most synthetic ones will be out of your system in about 1 to 2 hours. Smoking, oral contraceptives, steroids, excessive alcohol consumption, and analgesics or painkillers increase the need for this vitamin. Where do we get it? I think most of us are aware of the foods that we can get vitamin C in. And deficiencies can cause weight loss, fatigue and joint pain, which is one of the signs of scurvy. Scurvy, which means bruising easily, bleeding gums, and a tendency for bones to fracture because they lose their collagen, which makes them more brittle and therefore less elastic. There's reduced resistance to colds and infections, slows the healing of wounds and fractured bones. So the next question is, can it cause kidney stones? And a study done on 45,251 men that had no previous cases of kidney stones, some subjects took up to 30 times the RDA values and showed no increased risk of kidney stone formation. I think my personal feeling is it depends on the type of vitamin C supplement that you're taking. Because it's water-soluble, as long as you're drinking sufficient fluid or sufficient water, it will flush out within a couple of hours. The Mayo Clinic states that your body needs macronutrients such as proteins, carbohydrates, and fat for energy, and micronutrients such as vitamins and minerals for many other functions. Whole foods are an excellent choice. They also stated that an orange provides not only vitamin C, but also carotene, calcium, and free sugars for energy. A vitamin C supplement is lacking these. Again, it's in conjunction to a balanced diet. American Heart Association recommends that healthy individuals obtain adequate nutrient intakes from food eaten in variety and moderation rather than from supplements. But if you're not getting the adequate nutrient intakes, please feel free to supplement, but do it correctly. Now, minerals are nutrients that regulate many chemical reactions in the body. They occur naturally in rocks and soil. Minerals that are required in amounts greater than 100 milligrams are considered macro minerals. Calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, chloride or chlorine, and sulfur are macro minerals. And your body requires very small amounts of trace minerals such as iron and zinc. Calcium is important in blood clotting and the function of your nervous system, and it is an essential ingredient in the formation and maintenance of bones and teeth. A lack of calcium can sometimes lead to osteoporosis, which is a condition in which the bones gradually weaken. Potassium and sodium work together to maintain the water balance in the body. Most Americans do not consume enough potassium. Iron is necessary for healthy red blood cells, and if a person's diet does not include enough iron, he or she may develop anemia, which is a condition in which the red blood cells do not contain enough hemoglobin. Sodium is another mineral which is important in several body processes, including the functioning of the heart and the water balance. Too much sodium can cause a problem with blood pressure. So we need to limit the sodium in snacks. And sodium, one of the sources of sodium is salt, because it's sodium chloride. And these are just some of the summaries of the minerals, which you can check back on through the recording. So we go through the different sources and the functions. I'm running out of time to cover all of that tonight. So vitamin and mineral supplements, therefore, are not usually necessary if your diet is nutritious and well-balanced. And the operative word here is if. An excess or overdose of vitamins or minerals may damage your health. Now remember, this presentation was put together by a university, and a lot of their research material is done on synthetic vitamins or minerals. If you do take a vitamin or mineral supplement, a healthcare provider can advise you about how much is the right amount. My advice on this one is to speak to a clinical nutritionist or a dietitian, generally not your doctor, as they are not trained sufficiently in supplementation at all, unfortunately, unless they take a special interest in it and have studied more, like Dr. Cesar Nambesi. Water is a big thing that we need to have as well, which we underestimate. About 65% of your body weight is water, and nearly all of the body's chemical reactions, including those that produce energy and build new tissues, takes place in a water solution. Homeostasis is the process of maintaining a steady state inside your body. When you become overheated, your body excretes perspiration, which cools your body. Thus, water regulates body temperature. Now, water also contains dissolved substances called electrolytes that regulate many processes in your cells. Dehydration is a condition in which the water content of the body has fallen to an extremely low level. Symptoms of dehydration include fatigue, dry mouth, dizziness, weakness, flushed skin, headache, blurred vision, difficulty swallowing, dry skin, rapid pulse, and an infrequent urination. And this is particularly a problem in extremely hot weather, like what we experience now. And even when it's very humid, we tend to perspire a lot more. We don't always drink sufficient water. So this dehydration can sneak up on you very, very quickly. Blood plasma is about 90% water. So as the body loses water during dehydration, the blood thickens, making it harder for the heart to pump blood through the body. And that is where it leads to things like heart attacks and blood clots from forming. So every day you need at least 10 240 ml cups of water. If you're a female, if you're a female 14 to 18 years of age. Males in the same age group need about 14 cups of water per day. A sports drink is not necessary if you exercise for 60 minutes or less. If you exercise longer, a sports drink that contains carbohydrates may be beneficial. And sports drinks with electrolytes are not necessary unless you exercise for 5 hours or more. So you're running the comrades, sports drinks are okay. If you're doing an Ironman, maybe. If not, don't stress about it. Supplements that contain extracts or ingredients from the roots, berries, seeds, stems, leaves, buds, or flowers of plants are herbal supplements. Herbal supplements are officially classified as food and not drugs. This means that herbal or dietary supplements do not have to be proven safe or screened by the FDA before being placed on the market. That is where the problem comes about. Because anybody can come along, grab some flowers out of the garden, crush them up, dry them, pop them into a capsule and say, this herbal supplement will heal you of 100 different problems. And they don't have to prove anything because it's not regulated. That's where the biggest issue comes about. An amino acid that is made in the liver, kidneys, and pancreas is called creatine, and it is found in meat and fish. Many teenagers use creatine to increase their athletic performance or to become more muscular. You'll often find this in gyms. Suspicion that excessive creatine use could cause cramping, diarrhea, nausea, dizziness, dehydration, pardon me, muscle strain, high blood pressure, and abnormal liver or kidney function comes about because of this excess usage. A product taken orally that contains proteins that are intended to supplement one's diet and are not considered food are protein supplements. Health and fitness experts say that the amount of protein needed each day is about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Apologies, I didn't get that converted. Let's see if I can get that converted quickly. Most people will know what pounds are. Pound. So 1 pound is 0.45 kilograms or 453 grams. So you're needing 1 gram of protein per half kilo of body weight, basically. Most people meet or exceed this requirement. Any excess protein is converted to fat and not to muscle. So one needs to be careful of the type of protein that you're taking in. And this is where we're going to see what makes our products a little different. And I'm going to use a special guest to tell us about this.
What if I told you there is one thing you can do right now that could substantially improve your health and your future? Curious? Good. Skeptical? Great. Here's the answer. Get more whole food nutrients into your cells. How do you do that? Eat better? Well, yeah, absolutely we need to eat better. Many of us try, but there's more to it than that. Studies say that eating as healthy as you can, it isn't enough. This study, and this study, and even this one. We have to go beyond the nutrition on our plates and supplement our diet. Do you take supplements? Do you trust supplements? Do you have a cabinet full of supplements and wonder, are they even working? Are they absorbing? Is there something that you're missing? Or more importantly, could they actually be harming you? over 75% of us take dietary supplements, and guess what? It's not helping. We're still getting sicker. Chronic disease is still on the rise. So here's the question. Is it important to take vitamins and supplements, or is it important, along with a healthy lifestyle, to take in true whole food nutrients that have been clinically proven to help restore cellular function, bridge critical dietary gaps, and reverse the root causes that can lead to major health problems such as inflammation, which, by the way, is the main cause for most diseases like these? And is it also important to boost immunity? So let's review. You want to improve your health. Leading doctors, scientists, and studies say that we're lacking proper nutrition. And the multi-billion-dollar supplement industry is bombarding you with confusing options and big, unsubstantiated promises. No wonder you're skeptical. As a smart consumer who cares about your health, you should be. So what do? Tighten your criteria and start with credible science and whole food nutrition. Before you buy one more supplement, here's a checklist of 5 key criteria. Number 1, whole food. Are the nutrients just natural? You know, sheep wool, algae, duck feathers. Yeah, all that stuff and more is used by other companies. Probably not the type of natural you want to put in your body. Or are the nutrients in the products derived from real whole foods found in the human food chain? Are they grown, sourced, and developed with the highest known organic and non-GMO standards, sustainably, and most importantly, nutritionally effective? Number 2, credible science. Okay, this is where you get to be a super consumer. There are lots of products that are claiming to be tested for purity, clinically researched, clinical grade, doctor recommended, even claiming to be clinically tested. But that doesn't mean that the actual product with those specific ingredients underwent an independent, third-party clinical study on an actual population with evidence-based outcomes. And then, were those studies published in respected medical journals that have rigorous, independent peer reviews, and not just pay-to-play journals that have impressive-sounding names? Number 3, integrity. Red flags, lawsuits, dangerous warning labels, and alarming reviews. If these exist, then there's probably an issue with either the integrity or the competency of the company. So what's the goal of the company? Is it to truly help people end the trend of chronic sickness and disease, or is it to simply capitalize on a fad in the rapidly growing supplement industry? Does the company maintain a third-party pharmaceutical drug license? And is the company registered with the FDA and operating under their regulation? Is there oversight to ensure that what's on the label is actually in the product, which, by the way, is not required for supplement manufacturers? It is a choice of integrity. Number 4, longevity. Do you know the origin story? And do they still hold to the same values today? How long have they been around? Are they privately owned, or are they publicly traded and seem to care more about stock prices than product quality? What do people say about their experience with a company and their products after 10 or 20, or better yet, 60 years of use? Do they have a high rating with the Better Business Bureau? Number 5, a guarantee. If a company truly has confidence in their products and the benefits they provide, they will offer a money-back guarantee, and they will seek to serve the community by offering outstanding customer care. We hope these 5 criteria will empower you to be a more informed consumer. We'd like the opportunity to introduce you to the only company that I know of that meets and exceeds all 5 criteria. And you've probably never heard of it. They started more than 60 years ago with a clinical hospital study using a breakthrough product that was proven effective at the cellular level. Wouldn't you want to get up to 50% greater nutrition utilization from your foods? Listen, you can spend hundreds on healthy foods each month, but if your cells aren't functioning properly to receive those nutrients, then you might be wasting a lot of money. This is important because who wouldn't want to use up to 50% more nutrition from their food? This company's reputation for scientific excellence is so well established that their products have been used by researchers from the CDC, USDA, just to name a few. They are known in over 50 countries globally. They aren't interested in just closing a deal or only selling a product. They are committed to improving your cellular health through clinically proven whole food nutrition. They are a socially responsible company on a mission to make the world a healthier and happier place through superior quality whole food nutrition, organic skincare, and healthy living home products. If you or someone you know would like to take a deeper dive into this company, their products, and the clinical results proving that they actually work, then please contact the person who shared this with you.
And that is where I'm going to end this series. Thanks, everybody. We've got about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions or comments before I quit the recording?
That was brilliant. Thank you, Sean.
Well done.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I've got a quick one.
Okay, go, Linda.
Just a quick one. If a person has calcification of arteries, I guess the blood flow, the circulation is bad. I'm right, eh?
Correct. Yes.
Narrow arteries.
Yes.
Or whatever. Or vitamin E be more or less, say they need a supplement, will that more or less be the first one? Will it be better than omega-3 because of vitamin E circulation?
Yes.
And also with angina.
Vitamin E is highly recommended for angina. And I would also recommend either vitamin C and or carotenoid complex.
We're talking about angina now.
Yeah. Because angina
Okay,
essentially is like a cramping in the heart muscle.
Yeah. Okay. And CalMag?
CalMag is
That's
always
what muscle contraction, whatever.
correct. Yeah. So your calcium causes the contraction, your magnesium causes the relaxation. And that's why the two work together.
I remember from years ago that somebody had angina, and I got this thing, learned it somewhere before I knew a lot about it. Vitamin E and also you said for calcification. Okay, thank you.
Correct. Not a problem. Okay, let me